Hello, my karmically connected friend. Try being honest with yourself for once and answering this question. When was the last time you truly felt like you were living without any worry creeping into your mind? Perhaps it has been a long time, hasn't it? We often deceive ourselves with a sweet but illusory promise. I will only feel secure when I have paid off all my debt. I will only be relaxed when my children grow up. Or, I will only allow myself to be happy when my job is completely stable. We keep waiting for a perfect moment, a tomorrow completely free of storms, to start enjoying life. But dear friend, does that ideal tomorrow ever truly arrive? Or are we just running away from reality on a treadmill with no end, tirelessly chasing the shadow of happiness? Worry is like a dense, cold fog. It doesn't just obscure your view of the future. More dangerously, it is silently stealing the vivid colors and vitality of the present moment. We worry but try to hide it behind a forced smile, only to confront emptiness when night falls. Modern society teaches us to calculate and worry ahead to be safe, but the wisdom of the Buddha points to a completely different truth. True peace lies not in controlling all the risks of tomorrow, but in the ability to stop running away and be whole with this moment. If you keep looking back at the past with regret or standing on tiptoe, anxiously awaiting an uncertain future, you are losing the only and most precious asset you possess: life right now. Don't let fear become the ferryman who carries you throughout your entire life in insecurity. Today, let's sit down with me, take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and contemplate 6 wisdom lessons from Buddhism. These lessons are not dogmatic theories, but practical healing remedies that help you remove a 1,000-pound burden from your mind, to stop worrying and truly start living the peaceful life you inherently deserve. Lesson 1. The present is the only safe place. Stepping into this journey of mental healing, the first and most fundamental core lesson that we need to deeply engrave is the truth. The present moment is the only safe refuge for life. Let us dissect the true nature of anxiety. Isn't anxiety essentially the act of you abandoning the home of reality to mentally migrate to a future that does not yet exist? When you worry, you are not living here, where your body is present. You are living in the worst-case scenarios fabricated by your own imagination. You are watching a horror movie where you are the protagonist enduring all the suffering, but tragically, that movie is only being shown in the theater of your mind. The most dangerous aspect of this state is its devastating impact on our nervous system and physical body. Remember that the primitive human brain is not intelligent enough to distinguish between a real, immediate danger and a danger created by thought. When you sit on a comfortable sofa in a safe living room, but your mind is dwelling on losing your job, bankruptcy, or illness, your body reacts exactly as if you were standing before a fierce wild animal. Your heart starts racing, your breathing becomes shallow and hurried, your stomach tightens, and adrenaline pumps into your bloodstream. These are fake pains, simulated wounds, yet they cause real exhaustion. You are injecting poison into yourself with doses of imagination. That is why we often suffer more in our imagination than in reality. So, how do we escape this daytime nightmare? The Buddha taught that the only way to extinguish the fire of anxiety is not to immediately try to solve future problems, but to bring the mind back to the body in this very moment. Treat your body as a sacred temple and the breath as the most secure anchor. Right now, as you are hearing these words, try practicing with me. Shift your attention from the dark clouds in your head to the actual sensations in your body. Can you feel the weight of your body making contact with the seat? Can you feel your feet touching the solid floor? Listen to the breath going in and out. As you breathe in, feel the cool air touching your nostrils, traveling down your chest, causing your abdomen to rise. As you breathe out, feel the warmth being released and the muscles throughout your body softening. Why is this so important? Because there is an immutable psychological law. Anxiety cannot survive when you are truly present. The human mind cannot do two things simultaneously. It cannot fully sense the breath and worry about tomorrow at the same time. When you pour 100% of your energy into sensing the life that is happening right now, the chirping of birds, the aroma of a cup of tea, or simply the beating of your heart, the shadow of the future is forced to vanish. The light of presence and the darkness of anxiety cannot coexist in the same instant. Remember that right now, in this breath, you are safe. You are lacking nothing. You are not threatened by anything. Every catastrophe you fear only lies in the future, while right here, everything is still okay. Safety is not a place you need to find, but a state of mind when you know how to return and take refuge in your own breath. Make this a habit whenever the inner storm strikes. Stop, breathe, and feel the presence of your feet on the ground. As long as you stand firm in the present, no wave of the future can knock you down. Lesson 2. Acceptance is not giving up. This is perhaps one of the most misunderstood lessons, but if you can fully grasp it, you will relieve the 1,000-pound rock that has been crushing your chest all this time. This is the lesson on acceptance. Many of us, upon hearing the word acceptance, immediately develop a resistant psychology. We mistakenly believe that acceptance equates to weakness, resignation, surrender to fate, or compromise with bad circumstances. We think acceptance means passively allowing the currents of life to push us wherever they may. But dear friend, under the light of the Buddha's wisdom, acceptance carries a completely different and far more powerful meaning. Acceptance is not giving up. It is the courage to end the futile war against reality. There is a formula for suffering in Buddhist psychology that you should engrave in your mind. Suffering equals pain multiplied by resistance. Pain refers to the objective incidents that occur in life: a separation, an illness, a professional failure, or a past mistake. These are the unavoidable truths of human existence. But suffering, the constant torment, arises from our resistance to that pain. Resistance is the voice screaming in your head, "Why me? This should not have happened. If only I had done things differently. Life should have been fairer to me." When you refuse to accept what has happened, you are personally taking a knife and constantly cutting the old wound. You are consuming all your precious life energy to argue with the past, to fight against established facts. And in that war with reality, you will always be the loser, because what has happened has already happened. Resistance does not change the situation. It only exhausts you and prevents the healing process from beginning. True acceptance is an act of wisdom and awakening. It is the ability to look directly at the naked truth without judgment, denial, or evasion. Just like a good doctor, before he can treat a patient, he must diagnose and accept the presence of the illness. If you deceive yourself by saying, "I'm fine, I'm not sick," how can there be any chance of healing? Similarly, when you admit, "Yes, I am sad, I am failing, I am feeling anxious," at that very moment, the tension in your mind will release. You no longer have to strain yourself to play the role of a fake strong person or a flawless, perfect life. Please keep this firmly in mind. You do not need to wait until life is perfect, until every problem is smoothly resolved, to allow yourself to be peaceful. That is a trap. Life is inherently impermanent and unsatisfactory. When one storm passes, another will come. If you wait for perfection, you will wait forever. True peace only comes when you learn to accept the chaos of life, accept your own flaws, and the unsatisfying things around you. Just like the lotus flower blooming brilliantly right in the mud, it does not wait for the mud to disappear before blooming. It accepts the mud as part of the nourishment needed to radiate its fragrance. Acceptance does not mean you are happy about the pain. It means you expand the capacity of your heart to embrace it. When you stop resisting, stop complaining about fate, you will liberate a huge source of energy that was previously used to maintain that resistance. That energy can now be used to heal wounds, to find solutions, and to move forward. Do not torture yourself over the events of yesterday anymore. Put down your weapon, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, "It has played out this way, and right now I accept it so that I may be at peace." That is not cowardice. That is the beginning of an extraordinary inner strength. Lesson 3. Not every thought is trustworthy. Our journey is now moving towards the deeper levels of consciousness. Having learned how to anchor ourselves in the present moment and accept reality, we move on to the third lesson, a powerfully enlightening lesson that can completely change how you navigate your life. That is, not every thought that appears in your head is trustworthy. We often make a serious but extremely common mistake. We place absolute trust in our brain. We default to believing that every idea that springs into our head is the truth, a precise reflection of reality. But did you know that according to scientific studies, the average person has about 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts stream through their mind every day? And the sad truth is, the majority of those are repetitive, negative, and completely untrue thoughts. Especially for overthinkers, the mind is like a talented, disaster movie scriptwriter. It specializes in writing the darkest scenarios about the future. What if I get fired? What if that person leaves me? What if I get a terminal illness? When you believe these thoughts, you are reacting to an event that has never happened. You are suffering for a ghost. You are crying for a funeral that does not yet exist. The Buddha called this the delusion of the mind. He taught that the greatest enemy of a human being is their own self. And specifically here, that enemy is the uncontrolled thoughts that we have inadvertently nourished. To escape this trap, close your eyes and visualize the most beautiful and profound meditative metaphor. Your mind is a vast, deep blue sky, boundless and unchanging. And those streams of thoughts, emotions, and anxieties are merely clouds drifting across that sky. The sky is your true self, vast, peaceful, and containing everything. The clouds are temporary psychological phenomena. Some days the sky is clear and cloudless. That's when you are happy. Some days dark clouds gather fiercely with thunder and lightning. That's when you are anxious, fearful, or angry. But please notice this. No matter how dark and fierce the clouds are, can they ever contaminate or destroy the sky? Never. The sky is always there, behind the clouds, clear and serene. When the storm passes, the sky reappears completely intact, as if nothing had happened. Our problem is that we often forget we are the sky. We think we are the cloud. When an anxious thought arises, we cling to it, identifying ourselves with it. We say, "I am sad," I am anxious. But the truth is, I am observing a feeling of sadness passing by. I am witnessing a state of anxiety being present. This small change in language creates a huge space of freedom. So, how do we practice this lesson every day? It is the skill of observing instead of reacting. Imagine you are sitting on the bank of a river and watching the water flow. Floating on that water are leaves, twigs, and garbage. Those are your thoughts. Instead of jumping into the river, swimming after the twigs, trying to fish out the garbage, or blocking the flow of the water, actions that will only leave you drenched and exhausted, just sit still on the bank. Watch an anxious thought float by. There's the thought of fear of unemployment again. Look at it, smile at it, and let it drift away. Do not invite it ashore for tea. Do not argue with it, and do not try to chase it away. When you do not supply energy to the thought with attention and fear, it will automatically dissipate according to the law of impermanence. A thought is like a passing guest. It can only bother you if you open the door and keep it overnight. Worry is essentially you believing a lie about the future. Next time, when your mind starts whispering frightening things, make it a habit to doubt it. Ask yourself, does this thought have evidence? Or is this just an old habit of fear? Remember that you are not your thoughts. You are the owner, the observer, the vast sky that embraces all those floating clouds. When you separate yourself from the chaotic flow of your mind, that is when you reclaim sovereignty over your life. You will realize that no matter how stormy it is in your head, the deep essence within you is always peaceful, whole, and radiant. Lesson 4. Fear is also impermanent. We have now journeyed halfway through our path to reclaiming peace. Now that the mind has begun to achieve separation from chaotic thoughts, I invite you to contemplate another great truth of the universe, the most powerful pain reliever for wounded souls. That is Lesson 4. Fear is also impermanent. There is a very ironic psychological paradox. When happiness visits, we often fear it will vanish. But when pain or fear strikes, we believe it will last forever. When you are in the eye of a panic storm, or when sorrow heavily weighs upon your chest, the feeling is so real and dense that you feel as if you will be stuck there eternally. You feel like the sky is collapsing and tomorrow will never come. But dear friend, calm yourself and look out at the natural world outside that window. Is there any storm, no matter how fierce the tempest, that never dissolves? Is there any night, no matter how pitch black and cold, that does not have to yield to the radiant dawn of the next morning? Absolutely not. Everything in this universe adheres to the Buddha's law of impermanence, anicca. Impermanence means that everything is in a constant state of flux, arising and ceasing, coming and going. And the good news for you is, your emotions are also not exempt from that law. We often mention impermanence with a fear of separation and loss. But look at impermanence from another angle, the angle of healing. Thanks to impermanence, pain cannot exist eternally. Thanks to impermanence, the fear currently surrounding you will definitely have to change, weaken, and dissolve. Fear is essentially just a form of energy, like a large wave. It can surge very high, terrifyingly loud, but the nature of a wave is to subside and dissolve back into the ocean. No wave can stand still at the top forever. To apply this wisdom in practice and help you stand firm against emotional waves, change the way you define yourself, starting with your daily language. Typically, when we are anxious, we tend to say, "I am an anxious person. I am depressed." This way of speaking inadvertently transforms a temporary emotion into a fixed identity, making it yourself, as if you were nailing yourself to that suffering. Instead, practice saying, I am experiencing the feeling of anxiety. I am noticing fear passing through me. This small shift creates a massive separation. You separate yourself from the emotion. You are the observer, and the emotion is merely the object being observed. You are the solid house, and fear is just a wind blowing through the window. The wind can be cold, it can howl, but the wind is not the house. Next time, when your heart races and fear invades, quietly recite this miraculous mantra. This too is merely impermanent. It came to teach me a lesson, and then it will pass. Do not try to drive it away, and do not be afraid of it. Just let it unfold, observing its process of arising and ceasing with a calm state of mind. Trust the flow of time. Just as a harsh winter must yield to a warm spring. Your current dark psychological state is merely a short tunnel before you step out into the light. Be patient with yourself, because this storm too shall pass. Lesson 5. Let go of control. We are now entering the longest section, and also the heart of this entire video. This is the lesson that can completely change your attitude toward life, helping you shed the invisible burden you have been carrying on your own for so long. That is Lesson 5. Letting go of the illusion of control. Try looking at the palm of your hand. If you clench your hand into a fist, you will feel the tension spread from your fingers, up your wrist, arm, and up to your shoulder. That is the reflection of your mind when you are anxious. We worry because we believe in a sweet but deceptive illusion that if I think enough, worry ahead enough, and meticulously arrange everything, I can prevent bad things from happening. We want to control others' attitudes, control job outcomes, control our health, and even control the future. But dear friend, the naked truth of life is, control is merely an illusion. Look, can you command your heart to stop beating? Can you stop this afternoon's rain from falling? Can you make others love you forever? The answer is no. This life is like a turbulent river, wild and unregulated, and we are just small rowers. Suffering arises when we try to row upstream, trying to force the river to flow according to our will. Your exhaustion does not come from the river, but from your own resistance. Let me tell you a profound parable about a farmer sowing seeds. There was a farmer who was very diligent. He tilled the soil, selected the best seeds, and sowed them in the field. But he was a man afflicted with anxiety, overthinking. Every night, he couldn't sleep. He worried, what if it doesn't rain? What if pests eat all the seeds? What if the plants don't grow big enough? The anxiety urged him to control. So every night, he carried a lamp to the field, dug up the soil to see if the seeds had germinated. Seeing the seedlings just emerging and wanting them to grow faster, he used his hands to pull the tips of the plants up a little. Do you know what the result was? The entire field withered and died. Not because of pests, not because of natural disaster, but because of the excessive interference caused by the fear within him. This story might sound naive, but that is exactly how we are treating our own lives. We destroy our present happiness because we are too busy pulling the future towards us. So what does Buddhism teach us? It is the art of tui duyen, or understood in a modern way, the balance between intention and surrender. Many people dangerously confuse letting go with giving up or being irresponsible. That is not the case, my friend. Giving up is an attitude of indifference. I don't care whatever happens. But letting go, surrender, is the attitude of the wise. I will do the best I can today, but I am completely unattached to the final outcome. It is like the archer shooting an arrow. His task is to choose a good bow, focus his breath, aim accurately, and release the arrow decisively. That is, the part he can control. But once the arrow leaves the bowstring, whether it hits the bullseye depends on the wind, the air, and objective factors. If the archer tries to run after the arrow to adjust its trajectory, he is a fool. Learning to let go of control is learning to trust in life. Look, this universe has been operating smoothly for billions of years without your worried intervention. The earth still spins, the sun still rises, your body still naturally heals its wounds, and your children will still grow up in their own way. Why are you carrying the whole world on your shoulders? When you dare to release the steering wheel of control, a miracle happens. Peace rushes in. You shift from a state of rigidity to a state of flow. You work passionately, but without pressure. You love wholeheartedly, but without possession. You strive your best, but are ready to welcome all outcomes, whether success or failure, with a serene smile. Engrave this message. Peace is greater than perfection. A perfectly arranged, flawless life is an illusion, but a peaceful soul amidst imperfections is entirely possible. Right now, try opening your palm. Do you see? When you clench it tight, you only hold a bit of suffocating air. But when you open your hand, you hold the whole world. Letting go of control is the only way for you to gain everything. That is absolute freedom in your soul. Do not be afraid when things deviate from the plan, because sometimes the unexpected detours that life arranges lead you to destinations even more beautiful than you ever anticipated. Trust, and loosen your grip on the oars. Lesson 6. Speak to the voice of fear with kindness. We have walked together through the challenging stages of identification and letting go. Now that the soul has achieved a degree of stillness, I invite you to step into a more sacred and softer space, where true healing begins to touch the deepest layer of the heart. That is Lesson 6. Address the voice of fear with kindness and compassion. There is an unconscious yet incredibly cruel habit that most anxious people fall into. We often self-abuse ourselves precisely when we are most vulnerable. When panic strikes, when fear surrounds us, our first reaction is often denial and harsh self-judgment. We scold ourselves with bitter words like, "Why am I so weak? Why worry about something so small? Stop it right now. I'm useless." We treat fear as an enemy, a monster that must be immediately destroyed or expelled from our heads. We declare war on our own inner world. And you know what? That inner conflict is like pouring oil on the fire, turning a tiny spark of anxiety into a fierce, uncontrollable wildfire. But under the insightful gaze and deep compassion of Buddhism, fear is not a monster trying to harm you. Try to change your perspective for a moment. Imagine the anxiety within you is actually just a scared child, a child who is lost and feeling insecure in this wide world. That child is crying out not to bother you, but to beg for attention, to plead for protection from the adult, which is you. Biologically, anxiety is the brain's primitive defense mechanism, trying to protect you from danger, whether real or imagined. It is like a devoted but overly sensitive guard, constantly ringing the alarm because it wants you to be safe. So why do we have the heart to scold and punish a scared child or a guard trying to protect us? Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh once taught a beautifully simple practice: to embrace your suffering and pain like a mother embraces her crying infant. When the baby cries, the mother does not hit it or scold it to stop immediately. Instead, she gently picks it up and says, "Mommy is here. Don't be afraid. I am with you now." Just that warmth and gentle presence alone will automatically soothe the baby's crying. Your mind needs exactly the same gentleness. Next time the inner storm strikes, instead of bracing yourself for resistance, try placing your hand over your heart, feeling the fluttering beat there, and beginning an inner dialogue filled with loving kindness. Speak to yourself in the gentlest tone, saying, "I know you are scared. I know you are worried. It's okay. I am here with you now. We will get through this together." Allow yourself to be weak, to tremble. Accept the presence of fear like a guest. Invite it to sit down and soothe it with understanding. The greatest healing power in this universe is not iron will, but self-compassion. When you begin to treat even your most flawed and broken parts with kindness, a miracle occurs. The tension melts away, giving way to a feeling of safety and acceptance. You cannot heal a wound by denying it. You can only heal it by loving it. Do not wait for someone else to come rescue or comfort you. You are the only person capable of doing that best. Become the kind father, the gentle mother of your own soul. Remember, you deserve love, not only when you are strong and successful, but even when you are at your most trembling and fearful. Peace does not come from killing fear, but from befriending and forgiving it. When loving kindness is great enough, fear will naturally shrink and lie docilely in your embrace. That is the path to deep, root-level healing. So, we have journeyed a long way together to comprehend and transform anxiety. To conclude this video, I want to dedicate the final lesson to you, a golden key to open the door to serenity right here and right now. That is Lesson 7. Joy is a practice. Do not wait for perfection. We often spend our entire lives waiting to pay off debts, waiting for children to grow up, waiting for all troubles to pass before we allow ourselves to be happy. We live as if the current life is just a temporary waiting room. But dear friend, please awaken to the realization that absolute perfection will never exist in this impermanent world. If you wait for the storm of life to completely disappear before you agree to smile, I am afraid you will be waiting forever. The Buddha taught that happiness is not a prize at the end of the road, nor is it the absence of suffering. Happiness is a capacity. It is the ability to see the beauty of the lotus flower even while your feet are still soiled with mud. Do not treat joy as random luck. Treat joy as a practice. Just like exercising a muscle, you need to practice paying attention for the muscle of happiness to become strong. There is a deeply poignant saying, "Happiness is never far away. It is only forgotten because it is not paid attention to." Right now, happiness is present right beside you in the simplest forms that the anxious mind often overlooks. It lies in the aroma of your morning tea, in the warm ray of sunshine on the porch, or simply in the truth that your heart is still beating the rhythms of life. From today onwards, no matter how big the storm is, commit to finding at least 3 small things that make you grateful every day. When you train your mind in the habit of seeking beauty, the shadow of anxiety will automatically retreat. Don't save the good things for some special occasion in the future, because every peaceful day you are alive is already a special occasion. The journey of letting go of fear is not a destination achieved overnight, but I believe that with these provisions, you now possess enough the torch of mindfulness and the power of compassion to illuminate your own path. If these sharings bring relief to your soul, please joyfully give the video a like and share it with those who need healing. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can continue to walk together on the path to reclaiming balance and serenity. May you always find joy in every present breath. Thank you, and I look forward to meeting you again in peace.